leader is eventually faced with a crisis. So whether it's a business downturn or a sudden shift in market conditions or an internal team conflict that spirals out of control, in these moments your team is looking to you for guidance. But how do you stay calm and focused when everything around you feels like it's falling apart? In today's video, I'm going to walk you through 5 strategies that will help you lead your team through any crisis while keeping morale high and making sound decisions. The first strategy is transparency. One of the biggest mistakes leaders make during a crisis is either downplaying the situation or avoiding it altogether. Your team knows when something's off. They can sense the tension, and if you're not upfront with them, it erodes trust. So being transparent doesn't mean you have to share every single detail, but it does mean acknowledging the situation. So be clear about what's happening and how it might affect the team. When you own the reality of the crisis, it gives your team the confidence that you're not hiding or running away from the issue. Remember, people respect leaders who are honest, even if the news isn't good. So have that tough conversation. It will set the tone for everything that follows. In a crisis, it's easy to get overwhelmed by the sheer number of problems coming your way. But the second strategy is to focus on what you can control instead of getting lost in your chaos. So shift your focus to the things you can directly influence. Break down the situation into 2 categories: things within your control and things outside of your control. For example, you might not be able to control an economic downturn, but you can control your team's response to it. You might not control the company's budget cuts, but you can control how your team reallocates its resources. When you narrow your focus, you free up mental energy to tackle the actual actionable items. And when your team sees that you're prioritizing the things that matter, it gives them a sense of direction. They stop worrying about what's out of their hand and start taking ownership of what they can actually impact. Strategy number 3 is leading with empathy and stability. In a crisis, emotion runs high. Fear and anxiety, uncertainty can cloud judgment and weaken team morale. As the leader, you need to be the stabilizing force in the storm, and that starts with empathy. So listen to your team. Don't just brush off their concerns or try to reassure them with generic statements like, "Hey, everything's gonna be fine." Instead, actively listen to what they're feeling. Ask questions like, "How is the situation affecting you?" Or "What can I do to support you right now?" Because when you show genuine concern for your team's well-being, you create a sense of psychological safety, and people perform better when they feel supported. Empathy doesn't mean being soft on accountability. It means showing you understand their challenges while still holding them to the standards the team needs. And strategy number 4 is all about communication. But not just any communication. During a crisis, your team needs clarity, not chaos. They need clear, actionable steps to follow so they know exactly what's expected of them. So you need to start by breaking down the crisis into manageable phases. So what's the immediate action plan? What are the midterm adjustments? And what's the long-term recovery strategy? By laying out a roadmap, you give your team confidence that there's a path forward. So make sure your communication is consistent. Because a lot of times during a crisis, leaders go quiet after the initial announcement, leaving the team in the dark. Do not do that. Schedule regular check-ins even if there's no new information. It's about reassurance. Your team needs to feel that you're steering the ship and not leaving them to navigate the storm on their own. The final strategy is to model calmness and decisiveness. How do you carry yourself during a crisis will set the emotional temperature for your entire team. If you panic, they're gonna panic. If you sow frustration, they're gonna feel it too. But if you remain calm, focused, decisive, they'll follow your lead. And being calm doesn't mean ignoring the gravity of the situation. It means not allowing the pressure to paralyze you. Decisiveness, on the other hand, is critical because in times of crisis, the worst thing you can do is make no decision at all. Even if you're not 100% certain of the outcome, taking action with the best information you have at the time is better than waiting for these perfect conditions that likely are never gonna come to fruition. Now, this doesn't mean rushing decision, but it does mean trusting your judgment and committing to a course of action. Your team will feel more secure when they see that you're confidently taking steps forward, even in uncertainty. To sum it up, leading through a crisis isn't about being perfect. It's about maintaining progress, keeping your team focused, and showing up as the calm, decisive leader they need. So let's recap the 5 strategies we covered today. Number 1, acknowledge the crisis with transparency. Number 2, focus on what you can control. Number 3, lead with empathy and stability. Number 4, communicate clear, actionable steps. And number 5, model calmness and decisiveness. Remember, in a crisis, your team is looking to you not just for solutions, but for confidence, clarity, and reassurance. And by leading with these strategies, you'll keep your team's morale high, their focus sharp, and their confidence in the future intact. If this video helped you, give it a thumbs up, share it with your team, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights on leadership, career growth, and personal development.